Great. Hi, thanks for showing up for my talk about TypeRoof, the project I'm working on. It's called Type Tooling Infrastructure, but I will kind of diverge from that and then come back to it. You will see what I'm talking about. Generally, all my work kind of relies on the fact that there are parametric fonts, which my client is responsible for developing. There are two really important parametric fonts, and as far as I know, these are also the only ones that exist, and they are free software, licensed as OFL. That's Robotoflex and Amstelvare. David Berlow thought about his concept is the parametric fonts concept, and these are the implementations. So I think at this point I need to ask if anyone has any idea what a parametric font is, or yeah, some, or what a variable font is. Some more, I hope. And anyone who doesn't know anything about that? A font is a computer file that contains a typeface that you can use on screen. And that's actually a good question. So 2016, the OFL spec added the capability of variable fonts, and that means that you can have, instead of discrete fonts for, let's take the weight for light to heavy, and you have 5 fonts, light one, a semi-light one, regular one, semi-bold one, bold one. Now you can have a seamless transition between light and heavy. You can also have really creative axes. These transitions are called axes, and usually the more axes you have, you can mix them together. And parametric fonts builds upon that. So all parametric fonts in my presentation, I mean, Donald Knuth would disagree, but in my presentation, all parametric fonts are variable fonts that are built with a parametric concept in mind, where each axis only changes exactly one parameter of the font. So you can, for the parametric axis, there's XTRA, which is called X transparency, and that axis changes only the transparent part in the X dimension of the font. And then there's Y transparency. There are different Y transparency axes, actually, one for lower cases, one for uppercase letters. So you can, for example, change the X height of the font, and that doesn't change the weight of the stroke. It only changes the transparent parts. There's also an axis, of course, to change the weight of the stroke. That's the opaque axis, for example. So there are many of these parametric axes, and these can be used to mix together so-called user axes, which are then the weight axis, for example. An important one is the optical size axis and the width axis. These are the most important ones that we use. There can be other ones, but these are, in these concepts, the most important ones. And the idea is that you would use the user axis, like the weight axis, or the width axis, to express, to make a decision how your typography should express. And then you can use these parametric axes to finesse, to make really fine changes that are really going to make the details just much better, and typographers love this aspect, if they can make really fine decisions about typography. So I'm also going to talk about the tooling that goes into this, into the parametric fonts. So there is tooling which I inherited, which is for production of these tools, which David Berlow and his team can use to look at the fonts and decide if the design is good, if there are errors in stuff like that. There are 2 tools. One is the variable type tools tool. This is more like a static tool where you have sliders and can dial in stuff and can make some typography and just go to very specific locations. And then there's video proof. One problem with the parametric fonts is there's a lot of axes, so a lot of sliders, and that makes it really hard to look at the font while you use the sliders. And VideoProof creates animations through design space, like all the axes together is design space, and VideoProof can make a automated animation through that. So the designer or the person proofing the font can just look at it with the eyes and don't use the hands, which is very convenient. I inherited these tools. I removed PHP and jQuery dependencies, so it's now basically vanilla JS, or the JS that I wrote at least, without, like, there are very specialized external dependencies like half-bus, but there's no JavaScript framework involved, for example, other than my own framework, of course. Then both tools got unified into TypeRoof. So now there's one tool that has these tools in it, and we now call them the legacy app, because there's also newer development going on. And the reason to kind of abandon the old technology is that it doesn't really scale well to implement our vision of parametric typography. But that stuff is still used in production. So they still use the legacy app basically daily to inspect the ongoing work on these fonts. It's not old stuff, it's just a bigger version step, let's put it like that. TypeRoof has a website, it's on GitHub, it's Apache 2 licensed, and I won't read you the URLs. Instead, I thought I should do a live demo, because that's always the best thing to do. If you go to the docs page, which I would recommend as a starting point, at the left lower corner, you find two applications. The shell is the new tooling, the legacy is the old tooling, and I'm opening that. And it starts with VideoProof. This is VideoProof, the array. So you'll see a lot of layouts here. This is basically small apps that run in the tools. The new tool has also the same layouts idea. Below is the type tools, and this is the VideoProof tools. And I can press play, and then it will start to animate through design space. There's on the left side, there's different keyframes, we call it in here, in the legacy app. The new one, it's called key moments, because we don't actually use frames. You can filter the list of glyphs, so you have like more specified view to them, and you can probably see better like the transitions between the moments. And this wrap, this path through design space, only looks at optical size, width, and weight, because these are the most important axes for our tooling. This is typography. Do you know what optical size is, by the way? Anyone who doesn't know? That's more important. Okay, optical size. So fonts used to have a size when they were made out of metal, right? If you would like to print an 8-point type to somewhere, you needed a very small piece of metal. If you want to print like a headline, you need big print of metal or wood even, because metal wouldn't kind of do that for you anymore. And so when that stuff was still physical, size was a thing, and then everything got digital and size got somewhere lost. And now we can have optical sizes back, which is really good, because small text will be more readable and big text will be more expressive. This is Roboto Flex, and this is an optical size that is like made for big type, so it's looking very nice on the shirt. And then there's also, in your badges, for example, there's very small type. It's also Roboto Flex in the program, which is nicely readable. So this is all Roboto Flex. I can do a lot of typography with that stuff. I'm going to rush a bit. So no more array. The other tools, there's another one for spacing. This is a typical view. Type designers know how to prove the spacing, and this also animates through the same keyframes, key moments. I'm in the wrong. And then let's go to type tools. This is to made to create some idea of a typographic spec. This is not a document editor. This is more like your typography hierarchy. You can figure it out, and then you can just use the sliders again to dial that in. Just stuff like that. There's a nice grid tool, which you can use to look at a lot of different versions of the same glyphs. You can also type into that, I think. Yeah, like that. That's it for the legacy stuff. Just wanted to show you that diversion. Since LGM in Saarbrücken, we didn't really meet, and we missed a lot of these because I would have, tried to present that at LGM. So, but at ATAPI, we have a lot of presentations that cover a lot of these things that I was talking about, and more of the vision and how it was made. There are the calibrating type talks, which is the last one is very technical about parametric typography. Parametric typography is the idea that we can remove the complexity of using parametric fonts in everyday life. So we can set up parametric systems that are basically doing, based on some setup from the typographer, doing automated decisions for you, how big the type will be. It will definitely automatically apply optical sizes. Browsers do this already, but in our opinion, they do it a bit wrong. They will, like simple stuff is depending on your line length, you want to have a different line height. This is basic typography, but there's not much, like usual tools don't do that, and we can even change, for example, the height of the descenders, of the stuff that comes out below some glyphs, like the G or Y or stuff like that. So we can have a lot of control over that. We can automate this. We can also automate the whole document. So I wrote here, it's like the idea, responsive design, but much, much better. Basically fluent transition between, you see the word portals there somewhere, but portals are the devices or screens where you are, or books or whatever, where you're going to look at your document. So you might have a watch, you might have a presentation, you might have a website, and the vision is that we are going to make one typography that will just identify the viewing condition and then apply really, really, really good expert typography to the viewing condition and the document. Like your result will be really good. Yeah. Also, we need. We want to do this for all languages and all scripts. There's no reason why it shouldn't work. We definitely start with Latin typography because this is what we understand, but we're going to get experts from other backgrounds to work into this parametric typography. The shell is a new architecture. This is basically where the title of the talk comes from. It is, I think, I thought about it, not much people kind of reviewed it, but it's a really good, in my opinion, system to make complex tooling for typography. There's a lot of small tools some foundries make, some designers make, where they have to re-implement a lot of the infrastructure. And this would be a good opportunity to just use good infrastructure that is already there and have some gains from that you don't usually put in your small tools. And then also when the infrastructure improves, your tool will automatically improve with that. And it has proof of concept layouts. This is, you remember video proof, which I showed to you. So I was thinking about that, and the basic tooling on the new video proof is basically a general purpose animation editor, because we want to be able to animate a lot of different situations. There's a demo which is called the inchworm, which is basically a macro where you can this is XTRA axis, right? The X transparency axis where just the X transparent parts change. Then there's a clock demo. Which is nice about this stuff is the clock in this setup, like the seconds, is set to the equivalent of 12 hours. And now the clock, you can basically, at 3 o'clock position, it's 3 o'clock. You can have run this all day. Will just be right time. And the nice thing about this kind of tooling is also it's not like a video that is 12 hours long. It's like really compact stuff. So clock is actually really feasible. You see a bit down there in the stage manager, you see a bit of the object setup that is required for that. Not going into details. We can load state. This is currently not really good tool, but there's we can serialize and deserialize JSON and load little movies that I showed there. This is Decova. This is another font by David Berlow where he shows what creatively can be done, like decoratively can be done in a font. And this is kind of like a small demo of Decova. All these examples on the Docs website, and there are YouTube videos which are probably hard to watch, but you can, everything is online in the Doc website that I linked. This is kind of a 4-panel animation that also can run forever. To give an idea, like this is not a complete general purpose solution for animation. There's definitely some completeness missing, but it's doing just enough for me to implement other tools with animation principles. If, for example, we don't have easing functions, I'm running out of time. I'm going to show you. This is a new type. This is the new version, like proof of concept, that the tooling can also add new stuff to for example, the array. I showed you the selection before, and I just want to have one example. Could just as a way to. This is demoing the time wheel. Can I script this? I'm sorry. So the key moments. This editor. This is an editor where you can make your own wrap. It's very effective. So that what you see at the top, the product is basically creating all the key moments at the bottom. So you can make your own wrap really quickly and effectively for this tool. And you can compare stuff. I wanted to show you that. You can have different layers and compare your old version or your new version, or Amstelwar with Robotoflex to hurry. This is the new TypeSpec ramp. This is also much more complete. I'm going to skip this because I want to come to an end. I need to come to an end. Parametric typography is going to be a global project for all scripts in all languages. We are going to invite experts to help us building actual good expert decisions into the tool for your language and your script. It's Libre software because we have a value that we share, that we want to have this for everyone and everywhere. There is no proprietary software that tries to do remotely to do that. There are only the parametric fonts that exist and are available are ours, and I'm not aware that anyone wants to do commercially parametric fonts because it's a lot of work, but also because they don't see where they can make money from that because there's no tooling, because we are building the tooling and they don't. We believe this is the next step in the evolution of typography. Typography is a cultural core technology, and this will be just the next thing. And approach me if you got interested in this thing, that we just start to reach out. The tooling is now at a point where we can actually create useful stuff. So also for the people remotely or in the future, just if you think, oh, this is interesting, call me, write me, whatever. Thank you very much. Questions?
Just like amazing stuff, and I'm like also curious, like, can you do like even crazier stuff with parametric fonts? Because like could be anything, right? Like any evolution through these axes.
You can have very creative stuff, and there are a lot of good examples for very creative users. Google Fonts has a lot of variable fonts that are also really creative, and they try to collect definitions for axes so that other people can use similar axes. So there's some, because it makes a lot of sense trying to have a similar understanding of existing axes so user interfaces can use them. So that's also the parametric system has a set of really tightly defined axes so that this tooling that we built could be used for other parametric fonts in the future. But then again, you can also come up with complete bonkers ideas.
Maybe the next two speakers can already come to the technicians to...
Thanks.